Ava and Austin Jason were not breathing when they were born at 27 weeks and had to be placed in incubators after being resuscitated. Born prematurely, the future looked uncertain for twins Ava and Austin Jason. Neither was breathing when they came into the world at 27 weeks and they had to be placed in incubators after they were resuscitated. Both were still weak and struggling to breathe weeks later, until they were put in the same incubator at the request of their mother, Christia, and immediately placed their arms around each other. From that moment, their oxygen levels started to shoot up and their conditions improved dramatically. There is no scientific explanation for the sudden change in their health, although many parents of twins believe in what has become known as the rescuing hug. Similar to the way a premature baby's heart rate and breathing can improve with prolonged skin-to-skin contact with a parent, it is thought the comfort of physical closeness can work wonders not yet understood by experts. Mrs. Lake Jason, 29, said, "It really was a miracle. They had been apart since they were born prematurely. It was as if they knew they were together again and they were pulling each other through." Mrs. Lake Jason and her husband Luke Jason, 33, had been overjoyed to discover she was pregnant with twins. Both were still weak and struggling to breathe weeks later, until they were put in the same incubator at the request of their mother, Christia. Mrs. Lake Jason and her husband Luke Jason, 33, had been overjoyed to discover she was pregnant with twins. "We'd only been trying for a baby for a couple of months when I discovered I was pregnant, but I started to bleed at 6 weeks and I was rushed to hospital," the laboratory stem cell collector said. "Luckily, everything was fine. But the sonographer had some news for me, that I was pregnant with twins. It was such a shock as I hadn't expected it. But both Luke and I were thrilled to be expecting 2 babies rather than 1. The pregnancy continued without incident until her waters broke 13 weeks early. I was really panicking. Luke rushed me to hospital and a scan confirmed that I was in labor and I needed an emergency cesarean to deliver the babies. I was devastated," said Mrs. Lake Jason. Ava weighed just 2 pounds 1 ounce and her brother was 3 ounces heavier when they were delivered in May 2015 and instantly given urgent life-saving treatment. Ava weighed just 2 pounds 1 ounce and her brother was 3 ounces heavier when they were delivered in May 2015 and instantly given urgent life-saving treatment. When I finally got to see them 11 hours later, they were on separate sides of the room. Their skin looked transparent and they were covered in tubes," said Mrs. Lake Jason. "I knew they should have been inside me growing. All I could think of was how they could possibly survive." Over the next 8 weeks they made slight progress, but their oxygen levels were still wildly unpredictable, until their mother asked if they could be placed together. The theory of rescuing hugs dates back to 1995, when twin girls Brielle and Kyrie Jackson were born 12 weeks prematurely in Massachusetts, in the U.S.